Hi and welcome to the Jothishi channel. We welcome you back after a 3-month break. I hope you all been enjoying our videos, and because of COVID we had to take a break, but here now we start with a new series again, which is Nakshatra and what is its personality traits, what is its importance, and what are the characteristics associated with a Nakshatra. So let's jump in and let's talk to Anand and see what he has to say about it. So, Anand, today let's talk about a new topic, right? Something related to nakshatras. And every nakshatra they say has a particular influence on your life. It could
Yes.
also be on the personality side of things, on
Yes.
how you appear, right?
Yes.
And on what your physical appearance looks like,
Yes.
the way you act, right?
Yes.
Your mental abilities and all of that.
Yes.
Can you, let's start from Revati Nakshatra, right? The
Yes.
last nakshatra,
Yes.
and then let's see how we proceed.
Yes, yes. So we starting from Revati primarily because of a reason, because Hinduism talks about moksha, right? So, and Revati is the last nakshatra. So this nakshatra, we have the capability of coming into the world again. We also have the capability of not coming to this. That means you moving on to the divinity, merging your soul with the Paramatma. So that capability this particular nakshatra has, and hence we'll talk about Revati and start this discussion with Revati. So we'll take some unique things. We'll try to address the Revati nakshatra in a unique manner. We'll talk only about celebrities. We'll figure out some specific traits of each celebrities and then try and relate it to the Revati Nakshatra. So we'll try and figure out if there is some kind of a correlation.
So before you get started, so a certain personality trait, like let's say someone has a particular, since we are talking about celebrities, will that personality trait also be visible in everyone who has moon in Revati Nakshatra?
Yes, to a certain extent, that those traits will be sort of visible. So, for example, to start with, Revati is the animal represented for Revati Nakshatra. Every nakshatra has an animal, bird, and those kind of associations. So the animal association with Revati Nakshatra is a elephant, is a female elephant. So for example, if you the elephant, the movement of elephant will sort of be similar to nakshatra, a person with moon in Revati Nakshatra. So, for example, if you take Devanand, there is a specific style that he uses in walking. So, Devanand is a typical example of a Revati Nakshatra. Or you take Mohanlal. So Mohanlal has a specific style that he walks with. So that style is sort of uniquely denoted by this elephant's kind of a walk kind of.
So Gajagamini is a very
Yes. So that specific style in terms of walking is sort of figured out in Revati Nakshatra.
Okay.
So for example, it is ruled by Pushan. So Pushan is one of those 12 solar deities, and Pushan's is also equated with Pashupatinath.
Okay.
Pashupatinath means Pashuspati, that is the lord of the animals. Hence, this nakshatra has some connection with taking care of animals or looking after animals. So for example, you would sort of notice that Menaka Gandhi has to do something with animals' rights and animal movement and those kind of things. So you would also notice there are specific things related to animals with this particular nakshatra.
Okay.
And this Pushan, so Pashupatinath temple is in Nepal, and then it is also related to sort of being. We have read Garuda Puran, right? So in Garuda Puran it says that after death our soul goes and it reaches a river. We would have seen this depiction in many movies actually. It reaches a river and then a boatman comes, and the boatman comes and takes the soul to Dharmaraja, where your balance sheet is assessed, where what you have done, what you have not done, and those kind of things. So this boatman, ferry boat, it's called Vaitarani River, and this boatman is called Pushan, and his nature, his characteristics are sort of represented by Revati here. So generally, Revati is sort of person who the nakshatra characteristics is giving direction, taking care of children, women, and those kind of things. So, for example, Angelina Jolie. So you would find she is the United Nations ambassador for refugees. You're taking care of people kind of
She's
thing.
also adopted 5
Yes.
children.
So adoption is another what do you call characteristics which a Revati Nakshatra depicts. So you would find what do you call clear-cut adoption characteristics in a Revati Nakshatra kind of a thing. So if you talk about Rabindranath Tagore, so it's a pure Revati Nakshatra. He in his life he was a landlord and then he had a lot of estates and all that. So Revati is related with wealth. So it is known to be a wealthy nakshatra. Revat means wealth. So it's known to be a wealthy nakshatra. And then there is a story where Rabindranath Tagore used to move around in Padma River. So again this theme of Vaitarani River and Padma River. So if you notice Jaya Bachchan in her early movies, always her depiction is near a river kind of a thing. So that theme sort of comes out very, very clearly. You would also notice that Revati Nakshatra ladies, females, especially have a dimple. So whether it is Angelina Jolie or Divya Bharati or Jaya Bachchan, this dimple characteristics is pretty strong in Revati Nakshatra.
So a couple of questions that I have, at least I'm trying to build the blocks here, right?
Yes.
So one you said is taking care of animals,
Yes.
right? Those sort of things. So is there a possibility that, veterinary doctors,
exactly,
all of them have
yes,
certain characteristics of Revati Nakshatra in them
Yes.
that motivates them to take care of animals and those sort of
Yes.
things? Or people who work for PETA,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
All those things.
So the high probability that this animal tourism related your movement into animal tourism kind of a thing,
or wildlife
sanctuaries,
yes,
the people related to their veterinary doctors,
IFS officers,
yes, IFS forest officers, and those kind of things.
Right.
And it's also got to do with taking care of children and mothers.
Okay.
So for example,
Like a
Rihanna.
kind of- okay.
So if you see Rihanna, they're apart from Angelina Jolie,
Right.
who had a United Nations refugees title. Rihanna, they talk about taking care of abused children and those kind of things. So this is sort of messages theme is very, very clear for Revati Nakshatra. So anything to do with travel agent, taking care of people, something to do with children, all that, those kind of professions are fantastically suitable for anyone to give direction.
Right. So again, people who run foster homes.
Exactly.
All those people come under Revati Nakshatra.
So since this person Pushan, gives direction and takes you towards spirituality, and so anybody who sort of gives direction, sort of physiologist, psychiatrist, those kind of things, they are very, very strongly related with Revati Nakshatra.
Why I asked you this is all of them with moon in Revati.
Yes.
They can look at these professions also.
So it comes naturally to them.
Okay.
It comes naturally to them. So it is worth anything to do with water. So because moon is in Meena Rashi, right? So anything to do with merchant navy, those kind of things, do with water business. So those kind of things are reasonably very healthcare, healing business. So it's got to do with there is a natural instinct for those kind of professions.
Got it. So this is one useful tip for all of you watching. You can decide your profession based on not just one, but this is one tip for you to look at how you can choose your profession maybe. So more insights, Anand. This is getting interesting.
Yes.
Any other insight in terms of Revati Nakshatra and how?
Yes. So Revati's plant is called the butter tree. Mahua plant. It's locally called as Mahua. So Mahua is a sort of a country liquor kind of a thing. You have so there is a tendency for Revati natives to be sort of connected with substances and drinking and smoking kind of a thing. So
now you've gone from one extreme which is spirituality to the other extreme which is substance abuse. Okay.
Yes. So you would find so for example Whitney Houston during the last days of her life, she was found using cocaine, and then there was substance abuse and those kind of things. So there are enough cases. There are many more living examples, but you don't want to use living examples.
So, is this a natural tendency again for people to drift into that direction?
Yes.
So, how does one Now what is happening is we have two options, right? We can
Yes.
either move towards the spiritual
Yes.
path or we can move
Yes.
on the other
So
side.
the trend is normally the trend is you are sort of materialistically very inclined. You know enjoy the all the material things. You create enough wealth, and then there comes a stage wherein
It doesn't mean anything.
it doesn't mean anything to you. For example, film star Mohanlal today says that I am not acting. There is something related to divinity which is pulling, and it's beyond my control. So there is some connect to not one particular god or goddess kind of thing, some connect to divinity kind of thing. So their natural tendency to move towards that line is reasonably strong. So these two directions, from these two directions, it's a pretty thing. And many of them, as move to the materialistic thing. They come back, and then take rebirth, and then get into the nakshatra cycle again.
Okay.
Yes.
So
very
if one
few.
wants to move in the spiritual direction, what should they be doing?
So Devi is a fantastic, praying to Devi is a fantastic thing for Revati Nakshatra.
Lalita
Sahasranamam is a fantastic thing to do.
Chanting.
Yes. And they are naturally, this nakshatra is naturally connected to art, music, films and all that. So it's a very, they will have a particular, even in their talk, they will have a particular, so for example, Devanand, kaise ho bhai, so that kind of a musical touch comes in that talk itself. So that for example, we don't need to talk about Rihanna and Whitney Houston. They are born talented people. So that music and talent and films is a beautiful thing to pursue for a Revati Nakshatra.
So what I'm trying to relate here is all the 12th house creativity things and Revati being in Pisces is very nicely coming together.
And Mercury being the Dasha Lord.
Right.
So characteristics of communication, characteristics of talking to people, that little bit of mischievousness, that characteristics are very critical in Revati. Okay. It gets bloated up in that particular nakshatra.
Okay. So like Anand mentioned, this is the last nakshatra. There are two options that you have. One is you can come back into this cycle of birth and death, or you could try to merge with the divinity like Anand mentioned. So that is on the bigger scheme of things, right? But in a day-to-day life, like Anand mentioned, there are a few careers that we can choose. Like we can look at being an IFS officer, or we can look at working in human rights and all those sort of things, right? Like taking care of people. So that is something that comes naturally to people with Revati Nakshatra. So these are certain careers that we can choose, and then after that you could also look at what characteristics come, right? Like for example, someone might have a dimple, or someone working in merchant navy, so that could be another thing that comes naturally to you. So I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching the Jothishi YouTube channel.